welcome to Miss Annette's little farm in the big city. How are you? Well, I gotta tell you, it's a lot warmer today than it was the last couple of days. So here we are. I'm cleaning the barn right now, or straightening it up. I try to keep the humidity down. And today, I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the questions that you guys had. A while back in my community poster thing that I posted, I asked you if there were any things that you wanted to know about the little farm. And I'm going to answer some of those questions today while I clean the barn. One of the questions that I get is, did you grow up on a farm? And guys, no, I didn't. I didn't grow up on a farm. I grew up in a small town, in the town of Pierceton. And then we moved to Warsaw later when I became a teenager. And I don't think I lived in Warsaw for very long. Anyway, we lived in the small town, Pierceton, where you could just walk everywhere. And we never really had any pets. My mom really didn't like dogs or cats at that time. At one point when we were very young, we had chickens, and that was a long time ago when we were really young. So you're wondering, if I did not grow up on a farm, hang on a second, let me grab this bag. You're wondering, if I didn't grow up on a farm, what influenced me to do this? Well, there were two people that really influenced my life. And it's strange to think about it right now because when you think back, a lot of the time when you're living your life, you don't really think about what's influencing you to do what you do. Or anyway, I haven't. But I thought about this a lot, and two people really influenced me in my lifetime. And one of them was a school chum. Her name is Cindy Townsend. And she used to invite me to her home almost every weekend I was there. I would get on the school bus to go to her house on Friday, and I would go back on the school bus to home on Monday. So I would spend the whole weekend there with her. And I don't even remember packing a toothbrush, you guys. I was probably just such a stinky kid. But her parents were always very generous and kind and let me stay. And we were not in the house very often, though. We were always outside doing stuff. Outside, we would go to the creek, and she would show me. I mean, she just had a lot of imagination when it came to nature, and she showed me a lot of stuff, digging clay out of the embankments, and just wonderful, wonderful memories. And that really influenced my life to get back to nature. And I would say the second person that influenced me to live this kind of life was Jane Goodall. I was a kid when I read my first Jane Goodall book, and she just blew me away. This young girl in the middle of a jungle without any training, just out there learning about animals. And her courage really influenced me. Now, it took me a long time to get from point A, where I, loved all these things, to point B, where I'm living this kind of life now. It took a long time. I got boy crazy, and then I raised kids, and after the kids were almost all grown, I met Mr. Steve, and we started building this life. And we've been together 23 years. We've been together for 23 years, and we've been building this life step by step by step. And I've said it before. I hope I'm not repeating myself. I probably am. But we started with the bees, and then the chickens, the garden, the goats, and then the ducks. Well, I will tell you honestly, if I had more space, I would get more animals, and those animals would be ducks. I would get some more runner ducks. I love those ducks so much. I just love ducks. They're messy, they're a lot of extra work, but oh my gosh, they've captured my heart. Before we got animals, before I got chickens, before I did any of that, I am a research girl, and I did a lot of research about animals when I decided to get chickens in particular. A lot of that has to do with the weather. You have to study your weather. What kind of winters do you have? What kind of summers do you have? And then you start looking at chickens, because you want to have chickens that can tolerate the heat or the cold. So you want to make sure that you do your research. First, you look at your weather, then you look at the chickens. Don't do it the other way around, because then you'll be messed up. My favorite are the Easter eggers, because they are just the most hardy chickens that we've had. We've lost a few chickens of different breeds, and I have to say the Easter eggers have been very hardy for us here on the little farm. Now, I did get a lot of questions about the barn and why don't I put heat in the barn. We don't have heat in the barn. When we first got animals, we did a lot of research. Like I said, we researched the chickens, we researched the ducks. We wanted to make sure that we had animals that were hardy. But not only that, putting heat in the barn can really affect the animals in not so good ways, because the animals have adapted to the cold. They have spent the fall months getting ready for the cold. They're growing their new coats, growing their new feathers, just getting all of their bodies naturally have adapted to the cold weather coming. Nobody tells them on the calendar, hey, it's October, you need to start getting ready. No, their bodies naturally adapt that way. They start getting ready for the weather. Now, if I were to start putting heat in the barn, their bodies would not adapt. Their bodies would be, oh yeah, it's warm. My body doesn't need to adapt. That's just a natural thing that would happen, because their body would still be warm. So they don't have to create their own warmth. And then when I have them outside, they could get very sick. They would not be adapted to the cold out there. Well, putting heat in the barn can be very dangerous because of fire. There was at one time when we first got chickens and we had that first cold spike, we put a little heater in here because we felt, oh no, those poor chickens, because we were thinking like people. We were not thinking like animals that have adapted to this cold weather. We were thinking people. Like people, we have to have heat. We have to have all these covers. We didn't adapt like these animals have. But we put a heater in the barn. And that caused the chickens they were jumping on it. They were and they knocked it over. And if we hadn't been diligent about checking on the animals, we could have had a fire. You just never know. So you just want to be as safe as possible. Now, somebody in the comments mentioned that there were some safe ways to heat the animals. And I understand that. But I feel like, personally, myself, it's better for the animals to naturally adapt. I have been worried about Leche. She hasn't gained her weight. Her fur is not as much as it was. And you know what? We're just monitoring it. We're monitoring how she's reacted. These last 2 days have been bitterly cold, and she has come out very well with that. She's come out so well that we'll just have to wait and see. But the most important thing is keeping fresh water, dry bedding, and shelter, and food. And that's the most important thing that we can do for the animals right now. And we're just monitoring and keeping an eye on them and making sure that everybody is okay looking for signs. Oh, another question was why did I start a YouTube channel? I did it in 2020 because I was teaching at the time and schools were closed down and we were all just so isolated that year. And I missed everybody. I missed the kids. I missed the interaction. I missed all of that. So I decided to start YouTubing as a way to send them a video. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. And even to this day, this is sort of a legacy project for me. It's something that my grandchildren or my great-grandchildren may look back and see what I was doing. It's a little like that for my children and my grandchildren so that they can see this lifestyle. And not that I think anybody, so far my kids and my grandkids aren't very interested in this kind of life. This is a rough life. This is not an easy sit in your chair and play with the animals kind of life. This is you got to get out there in the barn and you got to deal with weather spikes. You got to deal with animal death. You got to deal with animal poop and waste, just all of that. It's a lot. And it's not for everybody. It's truly not for everybody. Anyway, so that's why I started my YouTube channel. I'm always grateful for each and every subscriber, comment. I've met so many wonderful people. I have, and I get to talk to them almost on a daily. Mary and Della and oh gosh, Jenny and Darlene, and just so many of you. Oh my gosh, Irene, who am I missing? I'm probably missing. Now I feel like I'm on an awards show. I shouldn't have started that because I know I'm going to forget. There's so many of you, and you all mean so much to me that I get to talk to you on a daily basis or whenever I can. I love it. And it's really been rewarding and a lot of fun. It's not about the views or the likes or the subscribers, even though I do have goals. I do have goals for that, just because why not? Anyway, that's my YouTube story. Another question that I get is, would I consider moving to the country so I could get more animals? And pretty much, we're pretty set where we're at. And occasionally we kind of think about, well, what if we sold everything and moved away? What would that be like? The problem is that I am in love with my house. I just love this house, and we have touched every square inch of this house, and it would be really hard to leave. It would be very hard to leave. So at this point today, we have no plans on moving somewhere where we could have more land. It would be nice to have more land. I could have more goats and more ducks, but and a bigger, no, I don't need a bigger garden. This garden's enough for me right now. Maybe more bees. Okay, well, so there isn't any plan. I mean, we've been here since, oh gosh, how long have we been here? Since 2004, 05, something like that. We've been here for quite a while. We've been here over 20 years, so I don't think we're gonna, right now, no plans to leave. Now, here on the little farm, we allow visitors. People come to visit us here on the little farm. Contact me through Messenger from Instagram or Facebook, or on my email. And people will contact me and say, hey, I'd like to visit the little farm. And then I say, hey, do you have an idea of when you would like to do this? Now, the reason that it's not just, oh, yeah, sure, come on over. It's because this is our home. And so we have to schedule visits because, first of all, I may be out doing something that day, or we may have already had enough visitors that week that we are overspent for ourselves. So that is why we do it that way. Last year, we did not go to any school visits because Lache was sick, and we didn't want to put any added stress on her, loading her up, meeting a bunch of strangers, loading her back up, all of that. So we did not have any school visits last year because of that, because she was sick. But we're hoping that she's not fully recovered, but she's doing well enough that we think that maybe next year we should be able to start doing school visits again. We do get visitors here on the little farm, like I said, and people contact me. We figure out a date, and then we schedule a time. And I only schedule one family, one group a day, not every day. We only do it a couple times, 2 to 3 times a week during the summer months. We start taking visitors in May, and we stop taking visitors the end of October. And then winter months, we don't take visitors. We just are hanging out, resting. But we do schedule one group for their day. We do not schedule several groups in a day's time because we feel like one group, they can come, they can relax, they can stay as long as they want, they can enjoy themselves. There isn't any rush. Hey, your scheduled time is over, you need to leave. No, we'd like people to come and actually visit and have a good time and enjoy themselves and just, just take it all in. And sometimes visitors will come and they'll stay an hour, half an hour, and sometimes visitors will come and they'll stay all day, and that's fine. That's fine. What a visit consists of here on the little farm, like I said, you schedule your visit and you come. I take you around the farm and I give you a little tour. I show you what everything is, and we end up down at the paddock where the animals are, and then we interact with the animals, and that is definitely depends on the comfort level of the visitor. If they feel like they want to pet the animals or hold the animals, that's fine. If they feel like the animals can come out like this and just walk around and they're comfortable with that, we do that too. Some people are definitely afraid of the animals and stay away from them, and then others are perfectly fine with the animals running around. Sometimes if I let the animals out and our visitors are a little bit zealous or a little bit not just stop pinching me. Anyway, sometimes when we let the animals out and the visitors are all chasing the animals, then we'll put the animals away. We've never had to ask visitors to leave, but we do put the animals away for their safety sometimes. Little kids, sometimes they don't understand. But you go down and you visit with the animals, and then after you're done visiting with the animals, we usually have a little snack. It's usually Mr. Steve's famous chocolate chip cookies and some lemonade, or during during October and September, it'll be apple cider and cookies or s'mores, depending on what it's like outside. So we have a lot of fun when visitors come. We really enjoy it. Now, we do not charge for visitors. We do not charge schools for going to visit. But we do have a PayPal and a Venmo account. And I never really say anything, okay, now we got these accounts, you need to give me money. I just have them displayed, and if people want to give a contribution, they can. And it's all just a donation. It's a donation. It's not a charge. And we use that money also to help keep the little farm going. That little girl. I was trying to think if there were any other questions, and I can't think of them. Oh, I know. There was one more. The paint color of our outbuildings. All right, I had to look it up. So the green is olive smudge, and the brown is afternoon tea. and is it Sherwin-Williams? Whatever paint they sell at Lowe's, we get our paint at Lowe's. So I know that the color was Afternoon Tea and Olive Smudge. So yeah, somebody asked me about that a couple of times, and I had to look it up, but now I got it for you. So there you go. And now I think that's really it. Oh, this girl. Okay, so thank you so much for stopping by today and visiting me here on Miss Annette's little farm in the big city. Try to get outside today if you can. Take care of yourself and take care of each other. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you so much.